Hey,
Yep.
Phil, just
Yep. Go ahead.
wanted to publicly thank Josh and Brendan, just for all their efforts, on the court, in the classroom, just last 3 years, helping us, rebuild the winning culture. So those guys have been a pleasure to coach, and we wish those guys the best of luck.
Okay, Gavin, go ahead.
Hi, Dan.
What's up?
So what have you been kind of doing this week? I mean, I assume maybe you met individually with every player. Yeah, what's been going on?
Yeah, so decompressing. A little bit. I'd say for everyone involved is like a little bit of rest and recovery and trying to recharge the batteries, but obviously a lot of evaluating. What went well, what we could build on, what we need to do better. A lot of with the staff, a lot of planning and strategizing. Because you're really just in this, in college basketball coaching, you go from one season to the other. We just obviously went from like the gameplay part of our season, but now we go into the most critical season of all, which is recruiting and player development, and for us to continue to move this thing forward back to where UConn belongs. We got to keep making keep taking steps like we did this year.
K-Mac?
Yes. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Yeah, what's up, man?
So this day and age, it seems as if every morning we have to get on Twitter and see who's in the portal. It's a different, day for us, but it's certainly a different day for all coaches too. What can you do to prevent it? Is it constant communication with your guys? I'm curious your stance on how to kind of coach going forward.
Oh, wait, I just got another notification on the portal. Just hold on.
Who's in? Who's in?
Yeah, we don't need that position. No, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's obviously it starts grassroots, and obviously a number of kids seem to to jump from school to school or team to team to enhance their their rankings or credentials. And it's no secret that the kids that come to play for us, the ultimate dream is to play in the NBA. And kids and families and their mentors, obviously, that they make decisions based on how they think they can, best put their kid in a position to do that. For me, it's always just been about just put as much time as I can into my players, build, myself and my staff, build as great a relationship as you can. So that the only reason why they would leave would be not because of, maybe an issue within the program, but make it an issue where it's in their best interest in terms of trying to move their career forward for them to move on. That you just, I try to make it in my program where we just don't have the role for you that you seek at this point, and that's going to solely be the reason that you move on. I think that's really all you can do. And obviously it's only going to continue to multiply with where the rules are going.
How do you have someone on your staff now who, is literally looking at the portal every day? You've had some successful inbound transfers. I would imagine you're going to keep exploring that constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see us becoming, transfer you. I feel like we'll, we want to build a program in more of a, traditional way where and try to supplement that, potentially in a given year. Obviously, for us going into next year, obviously, adding some skill, some versatility, some shooting, would certainly enhance what we have returning. So, but yeah, I mean, it's, we'll rely on recruiting, the high end, high school talent, and then supplement that in a given year.
Okay, thanks.
You got it.
Dom?
Again, I just wonder what your conversations have been like with James, and if anything has changed regarding him over the last month or 6 weeks. And it's been considered kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to the NBA, but has anything changed regarding his thinking or your thinking on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of, really reflecting on the end of the season, and just in general, having conversations. I've probably seen him more since the season's over than I did, really throughout the year. So he, it didn't sit well, obviously, with him the way the year ended. It eats away at you. You feel great about the steps that we took this year as a program, but that last 45 minutes and 7 seconds of gameplay, that last 5:07 of Creighton and 40 minutes versus Maryland, that's kind of, that eats away at you as a coach or a player. If that's the last thing you did on the floor. So I think James is feeling kind of the disappointment of the way the season ended for us, but he feels really good about what we accomplished while he was here. And for him, listen, if you're if you're a lottery pick and you're able to accomplish that in 2 years, that's a pretty hard thing to turn down. So
Bill Paxton?
Hey, Dan, in terms of a cook, did it get to be a point in the season where he wasn't going to be healthy and you didn't want to risk using him anymore? Or, I mean, kind of shut him down for next year? What was kind of the thinking later in the year? Because you were very high on him early in the year, being able to come back maybe mid-season.
Yeah, I think a Cook, all the work that he put in to get back on the court was, really, really impressive. And there are markers in terms of recovery. At 11 or 12 months, you can play, but you won't be back to yourself or even making improvements on your former self until like the 18-month mark. So I think that there were days or weeks or practice or game nights where he felt really, really good and he felt fresh. And there were other moments where he didn't feel as good. But our messaging to a Cook was, throughout the year, were to give us what you could this year. But obviously, next year, we've got to have a huge summer, and we got to get you where this program needs to get you, come next season,
Neil?
Dan, what have your conversations with Isaiah and Tyler been like so far? And do you get an inkling, a sense of what they're planning on doing?
Yeah, I mean, these, the players across the board, they're just in a tough spot with, with the COVID, with the opportunities overseas dwindling, and just because of the economics, which then trickle down to the G League. My conversation with the team on Monday was just to just take the week and take the week and decompress. When we met on Monday of this past week, just, kind of take the week, let the emotion, and the fatigue, kind of leave your body and just, think clearly about the big picture. And then we'll reconvene, again next week. We obviously, Brendan and Josh, they didn't need the time. But those guys are in a different position than Brendan and Josh were in terms of, I'd imagine, the way that the playing time was this year for them and in future. So, there's a lot of older players, seniors that have got a really, really, hard decisions to make.
Dave,
And then, would you
So-
welcome those guys? Would you welcome those guys back if that is their decision? And I guess, if I'm not mistaken, they wouldn't count against obviously the 13 scholarship limit, but the school would still end up paying an extra 1 or 2 scholarships there. Is that something that the school would have to approve of as well, or the athletic department or whatever?
Yeah, and they've done that, already. Dave, I've talked to, Dave Benedict. Those guys, all 4 of those guys, would certainly were welcome back. If that would have put us at 17 scholarship players, I probably would, have to get some insight from one of the women's staffs on how to manage, so many scholarship players. But, I think we knew that it wouldn't make sense for, any or a number of guys from that group of 4. I don't think that there was ever a moment that we thought that all 4 guys would potentially return. I think we, you knew immediately that obviously, Tyler and Isaiah would have things to think about. And for Josh and Brendan, it was probably a no-brainer on what to do next.
Joe's on.
Yes, Dan, in your evaluation process, do you have a report card per se on each player with things you want them to work on going forward, or is it just more of a general evaluation?
Yeah, so it's an evaluation. It's it's an assessment. Just a full assessment from the work ethic and commitment to the actual skill development, competitiveness. I mean, intangibles and tangible things. Which we dive into, really starting next week, and then we get into obviously the player development season, which is critical for us because we obviously a cornerstone of what I try to do, with my programs is make my players better. Your solutions aren't always in the transfer portal or in recruiting. You've got to make players better. You've got a number of players that need to take the next step in their career. And this is gonna, again, for me, it's like that all I have in my brain is 45:07. It's like etched in my brain. The last 45 minutes and 7 seconds of gameplay should push and drive every member of this organization in the offseason. Coaches, with what they're doing on the court with players or recruiting or players in terms of their development and commitment. The last 45 minutes and 7 seconds is not who we want to be. And that should drive all of us to push ourselves, to deliver better next season and next March, 45:07.
Sounds
Dan
like a
Barletta?
t-shirt.
Hi, Dan. So right now, you obviously who you have coming in for recruits. Pretty much give or take who's going to be coming back. What is this team's biggest need going into next season?
Yeah, I mean that's there's so many ways that we could obviously get better. I would just say without a cop out here is just need to kind of continue to take steps forward. I think this year, we built a winning culture. We played important games in March. We've developed a winning mentality and a winning culture. We've kind of rebuilt that. Now we've got to, obviously do it a second year in a row, which would show consistency. And then we got to step forward to, building a championship level program. And that would mean, coming through in March better than we did in the last 45 minutes and 7 seconds. But, we've got to become more skillful. We've got to improve our skill on offense. Our passing, our shooting has got to get better. Watching that Maryland game, and it's incredible that 18 offensive rebounds in a half, was truly admirable in terms of the effort and the determination. But you just don't want to miss that much, So we've got to become a better shooting team. We got to become a better passing team. My teams will always be tough and play with passion. But the shooting and shooting, passing, playing faster are areas that we've got to improve.
Charlotte?
Hey, Dan. Hope you're doing well.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You had mentioned just player development. How does that change, or how does your outlook on that kind of change compared to last season, given just how much the uncertainty, I guess, what you're able to do with that more this year, given you kind of have a better sense of things happening in life?
Yeah, I mean, well, for us, I mean, it all starts with, once I think you get all members potentially of the program vaccinated, I think it's going to be a much different type of off season in terms of us functioning the way that we normally do. I feel like our all year round commitment, I think, is a separator for us relative to other programs. I just feel like we do as much or more than anyone, and that advantage and commitment that our staff makes, players make, was robbed last summer, and even the playing field that way. So I think that we'll make bigger strides, just because I think we're going to invest just more time as a program, and obviously get vaccinated, players and coaches will allow us to do that. I think we've got one of the best strength coaches in the country. So I think you'll see that physical transformation continue. You saw the work that Mike was able to do in a short period of time. And we've got, a top 10 class. I think we got three big time guys coming in. We return a lot of talent, a lot of players that have the ability to take a big step next year. So, I think we'll be able to make big strides during this player development season.
Tom?
Dan, do you anticipate all your assistants coming back? I know there are a lot of openings out there. I don't know if anyone's a candidate for anything, but do you anticipate your staff coming back intact?
Yeah, I think right now, you do in your mind, there's nothing really pending. And then when you say that, your phone usually buzzes about an hour later. So I don't want to, jinx that. But I think in your mind, you're always, you have a mental list in your head, pretty much at every position in your staff. If somebody was to become a head coach, or if you lost an administrative assistant, but I don't. Right now, I'm not seeing anything right now.
And I just want to ask one more Tyler and Isaiah question. Is there any kind of timetable or deadline or anything where you need to know their intentions, or is it just open-ended for them to decide?
Yeah, I think it's open-ended for them. I think a part of it is, to see what the professional market, is for, for both of those guys. I think that, you got to take some time and talk to agents and seeing what potentially would be out there for them based on, production, performance, reputation. We can help those guys and the families with that, and, and see where all that, where all that lands for them. So I just, it's, it's not, this isn't an easy thing for, players, players in their position would normally, I think try to catch on with the G League or potentially head overseas. But you just, again, because of the economy and everything with COVID, that certainly has changed the landscape of opportunities.
Mike Crispino.
Hey, Dan, as you watched the second round of the NCAA, and you'll probably watch the Sweet 16, comparatively, where are you at as a team to the teams that have succeeded now and gotten to this second weekend, do you think?
Yeah, I would just say, those programs maybe, had a little bit more, or had more maturity in terms of being able to, handle themselves, in March in those critical games. I think, that was a really valuable experience for the program. Obviously there are teams that, that we beat, like a USC that's playing in the Sweet 16, or, a team like Creighton, who we lost 2-3 times, but easily, could have beaten twice if we cleaned up the later part of the game. So, you feel like you're close. You feel like you're a lot closer than you were, in seasons past, and you feel good about the progress, but you're studying, you're watching, you're studying these teams, you're studying these programs that consistently advance in March, and you're picking up on the details of their teams and looking to continue to add to what you're doing.
And just a quick follow-up, Andre Jackson, what's he got to do this summer to become a major part of what you're doing next year?
Yeah, just, offensive production, putting that ball, getting that ball in his hands, and getting him attacking that paint, with his vision and passing, his athletic ability, and his basketball handling skills. Obviously, he's got to continue to work on his perimeter shot, but that's a guy next year that we need living in the paint with the ball, creating offense, pushing that ball in transition, flying all around the court defensively and using that athleticism. He'll be, I think guys like Odama, Andre, the incoming freshman, being able to function normally this summer, those guys will make major strides, in their game.
A couple more, Gavin.
Dan, what do you want Odama working on? What's his next step?
I think just his, his ability, his ability to handle the ball away from the basket, his ability to step away, make a perimeter shot. Our court got really crowded this year. At times, when you have multiple, when you have multiple players that are not a threat to make a shot from the perimeter, driving lanes become an issue. The court becomes very, very crowded offensively, and he played so much around the basket, block to block and in the paint. Just being able to play in DHO, being able to play in dribble handoffs, like pass and gets on the perimeter, being able to put 4 perimeter out there with him, and play him at the top of the key a little bit more, like in pass follows and different things. just getting him comfortable playing away from the basket more is mutually beneficial. It's going to help him enhance his career. It's going to make us harder to guard. It's going to open up the court. And, you know, I'm not saying he's going to make threes next year, but I think he's going to be able to, we would like him to at least be able to be comfortable handling and passing out to the 3-point line and be able to step away and face up and play more out.
And where's Richie Springs fit in?
You know, Richie, you know, the second half of the year, you know, I think we saw something there with Richie, which, you know, kind of, you know, I think excited the staff in terms of his maturity. You know, he's a real live front court body, you know, and he has the mobility and athletic ability that you're dying for in today's game. So, you know, huge summer for Richie to you know, with obviously pending Isaiah, but with Odama and a Cook, and obviously, you know, and Sampson coming in, and then obviously, you know, the ability, you know, pending Isaiah, obviously, and the ability, you know, to play smaller too at the 4. You know, he's got to fight his way onto the court this year. It's a big year for Richie, but he had we feel much better about the second half of his year and how he performed.
Dave?
Dan, do you watch these, you know, the games coming up, the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four and everything? And do you have sort of a rooting interest at all? Do you know, whether it's Big East teams or Nate Oates or whoever, you know, how do you kind of follow things the rest of the way here?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really watch the Sunday. You know, you're still in mourning. You know, we lose Saturday night. Obviously, I couldn't do anything on Sunday. Started watching again on Monday. Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting, obviously, root for Jay, you know, and Greg, and root for the Big East there. And yeah, and then Nate. You know, Nate's really the only other, you know, dog I've got in the race right now. So there's no one else with really 6 degrees of separation for me to root for at this point. Now I'm just trying to steal some concepts and ideas right now. I'm just kind of a thief in the night watching these games, trying to steal some ideas.
Bill Paxton?
Dan, do you feel like, I mean, you have a good read on the guys that are coming back, and is it possible you could lose another guy or two or have some more roster shuffle before you can start looking for players?
Yeah, I mean, I you know, again, in today's day and age, you know, you could sound like a bozo in an hour, but you know, feel pretty good about, you know, obviously you've got Isaiah and Tyler, they're in a separate category, but you know, we're, you know, we've got the side, you know, 7 guys, you know, here that the non-seniors that, you know, we're at the, you know, player development. Here's what we got to do to take the next step. You've got the three really talented guys coming in, and then obviously you know, you have the open scholarships where, again, for us it's you know, it's versatility and skill, and you know, and shooting. I think are the things that we're, and somebody that obviously is going to fit into, you know, our culture, you know, which is a critical part of winning. But I'd say that the thing that probably, again, the thing that we're all, the returning players, the 7, obviously Isaiah and Tyler, you could also kind of put into that grouping as well as, the only thing that any of us are thinking right now, staff's thinking about recruiting and player development, but man, 4507.
Thanks.
Pat, did you have a question? Eaton, Rob?
4507.
No?
4507.
I just wanted to get is Odama a player that this team can run its offense through? I mean, obviously James was kind of the player that you look to this season. Do you foresee Odama becoming that type of player?
I think Odama's a special player. I think he's got a chance next year to be one of the better, bigger players in the country. I don't want to call him a post player, but I quote, we have guards and forwards. So I'm gonna say you got a chance to be, one of the best forwards in the country. I don't want to put numbers next to what he can do, but the hands, the feet, the touch, he's game, he's competitive, his commitment level is top notch. He's a tough guy, a winner. He'll add skills quickly too as well. If we have a regular off season, a regular player development season, I think he's a all conference, first or second team all conference level player next year, and one of the best big guys potentially out there. I think he's that good potentially.
Thank you.
Guys, I don't see any more questions. Is that about it? Okay, thanks a lot, Coach.
Hey, thank you to all you guys too for all the coverage and the work that you guys do, covering us, and I look forward to doing this with you guys, hopefully in person at some point, once we're all vaccinated and things go back to regular. Did miss the just the interaction, and seeing you guys after games, after practice, just that human interaction, as brutal as some of you guys could be. I do miss you all. So.
Okay.
And I'm Captain Brutality.
Thanks, I think.
So,
There you go.
yeah,
That's right. For someone who someone who knows. Yes.
someone who knows about brutality.
Yes.
I thank you for your occasional brutality, but mostly I look forward to seeing you guys again.